Eric, and I'm going to show you how to create a cool game in Loquiz called 100. We start off by creating a new game and choosing Brigade as our game type. And then the next step is to add some questions to the game. What I have done here is that I have tagged some of the questions in question library that is available to every Loquiz user as 100. So there are 30 questions, and you have the same questions on your account already if you go to the question library. And this makes it very easy for me to just click the arrow and add the specific question to the game. Now, when I'm adding the questions to the game, they appear on the left here, and you can see how many questions there are in the game already and how many points do they give if answered correctly. So I keep adding the questions until I get to 30 basically. Now the idea of this game is to get exactly 100 points. So it's not so much about maximizing your point count, but rather getting exactly to 100. And for that reason, I'm actually adding some of the questions that have negative difficulty scores. So if you would get to 103, you could go and find this specific question and answer it correctly, so you get negative points. It's actually what gives the game its essence. So you need to plan ahead, not to just go mindlessly. And you see the total points here actually show how many points would you get if you answer everything correctly, like negative and positive. And maximum amount of points is what you will get if you only answer the positive points correctly. So they are all over 100, which is cool because probably you will be answering some of the questions wrong, and for these you will get 0 points, so it should be easy to get to 100. Now there is one more thing I want to do, and this is the finish question. I added one question as a specific finish text. And this gives 0 points. So when teams come to finish, they are not like thrown off from 100. And what I want to do with this is that I want it to be the last in the list. It doesn't have to be the last, but it just makes sense for me when I'm assigning the locations in the next step. Okay, and then we go to the next step. Now we have 30 questions and we need to assign them somewhere in the world. And let's do that in Central Park in Manhattan, New York. We'll zoom in, and here we are. So let's take the middle part, near the lake here, where we have a lot of small tracks. Let's check from the satellite view. It's cool, so it's kind of forest there. And we just click on the map to set the locations. Now they don't have to be in any specific order, because the teams, when playing, they will have a chance to visit them in any order anyway. But it's a good idea to put them down in an order, because then you can see the estimate of how long the game really is. So this number here, in the right corner, shows you how many meters would team need to travel to get from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth. Now, they're not going to travel in that sequence probably, but it will give you an estimate of how long apart the locations really are. So you don't make the game too long, and you also don't make it too short. Okay, now have been putting them and probably a bit too close together. So I'm going to move some of them a bit wider. And now when I'm assigning these negative points, I want to put these, in different places in a game. Okay, so we have a good distribution here. And 29, let's put it here. And now we only have the finish point to assign a location to. So I'm going to move that in front of the restaurant here. So it's kind of makes sense to wait for the teams there. Move some of the Location is still out a bit. So we have around 3 kilometers, maybe a bit more of the game length, which should be quite good. Now you can mark the finish location anywhere. You know, you could mark any question as a finish location. But what I wanted to do was that the finish location is special because it would give 0 points and it would say it's a finish. So the finish point actually acts so that when the game is over, the time runs out, or the team has answered all the questions, they would come back to finish. And this is kind of people management in the sense that it takes everybody to one location at the end. You can start the game from wherever because it doesn't matter where you go first, but it ends there. Okay, and then we need to give it a name. Let's say it's 100. We need intro text, or the welcome text, and I'm just going to copy it over from our white paper. So that is kind of a document that explains how to run, sell, and also prepare the game that we're preparing here. I'm just going to copy and paste it into the box here, and just do a bit of work to make it maybe look a little bit better. And I'll do the same with the finish message. The finish message shows when the game is over. So when you have answered the finish location, the finish question, and also when you are in the finish location. So it might say, go into the pub, and at the present it says go find the fun pub. Well, of course, it's not the fun pub there, but anyway, this is something that you can use to drive people to the next step. And also time limit. It's always good to put a time limit. This kind of frames the game. And let's say it's 100 minutes. So it will be kind of mildly challenging. Then we have some more options there. We want the timers on the questions. If any question has a timer, we want to use it. So we keep it as question specific. Incorrect answer gives 0 points in this game because we want people still to get to 100 and not to maybe get to minus 100. And I'm also going to show that if team answers incorrectly, they will get to know the correct answer as well instantly, and we'll create a game. Now the next step is to create an event before you can play the game, but this is another tutorial already. Thanks.